Okay, so you're here today on a status check for this matter. It actually is a status check, I think, pursuant to Rule 16, but I don't even have answers on this case yet because this was a case that was delayed because there was a bankruptcy filing. Additionally, I recently sent out an order asking for a status report on or before January 24th, 2025, detailing the following: whether or not a settlement conference or mediation has taken place in this matter, the specific date and time that parties last discussed settlement and resolution in this case, a confirmation that the matter is going to be ready for trial as scheduled, which we don't have that in this case. But I was planning on setting a trial date today. If you all could give me some idea as to the value of the case and what the lines are as far as, or what the expected timeline is as far as answering and so forth. And then finally, any unique issues. Now, I think the unique issue we've had in this case is the bankruptcy. I sent out that order because when cases are more than 36 months old, which this is on my list of cases that are 36 months or older, we want to make sure that they're not lost in the shuffle and that we are actually moving things forward. So why don't we start with you, Mr. Birch, and then I'll hear from you, Mr. Esposito. If you all can give me the information that I've requested in that order, I'm not going to require you to do a joint status report, but I would like you to talk to one another if you haven't in the last 60 days. And it sounds like, I know that, I'm sorry, I don't remember which one of you just asked the other one to contact them after this hearing, but it sounds like you're already planning on doing that after today's hearing. So if that's the plan, then just let me know that when you speak. So I'll hear from Mr. Birch first. Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. So the defendants accepted service, I think right before Christmas. So their answer is due here in the next little while. Obviously, the acceptance of service gives them a little bit of extra time, but I'll let Mr. Esposito speak as to when he anticipates answering. My clients got, several $100,000 of medical bills. All of these cases are that kind of, kidney and liver damage situation. So he and I actually spoke after our last hearing with Your Honor, the last status check that was right before Christmas. And so we have been speaking, but I'll give him a call again after today's hearing. I anticipate that as soon as the answer is filed, the request for exemption, I think will be granted immediately. I don't anticipate a ton of discovery in this case, as we discussed at the last status check, because these cases have a lot of similarities as far as the liability and all of that stuff is all very similar from my end. So I'll get all of that from the sort of big document storage situation. I anticipate Mr. Esposito will want to take my client's deposition, doctor depositions, potentially a little bit of expert, discovery, but not a ton. So I do think we can actually move this case along fairly quickly. I don't know that. I don't think it would be unreasonable to expect that we'd be able to go to trial by the end of the year. Most of these cases are settling, but not all of them. So some of them have necessitated trial. So,
okay, when do you think you would be prepared for a settlement conference? Actually, let me start too. Do you think a settlement conference would be meaningful or helpful in this case?
I would not ask Your Honor to order one at this point. I think a settlement conference may be helpful, but I've worked with Mr. Esposito and his firm in the past. I don't anticipate difficulty scheduling with them. And potentially, I suspect there is the special master order has some impact on that. And so I think we may be able to arrange that without Your Honor ordering one. If at any point one of us feels Your Honor needs to order one, I'd be happy to come back. I do think one would be helpful, but I don't think an order is necessary from Your Honor.
Okay, when do you think that you will be prepared for one in this case? And you're just giving me an estimate here, like 3 months.
I think probably closer to 4 or 5 months, Your Honor, probably by June.
Okay, and you do plan on speaking with Mr. Esposito today after this conference, correct?
Yep, I will call him as soon as we end here, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Esposito, or actually, before I move on, Mr. Birch, anything else to say before I take some comments from Mr. Esposito?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Esposito, do you want to add anything to that? Do you want to give me an idea of when you think from your end you'd be ready to meaningfully discuss settlement, whether it's even just talking to Mr. Birch or an actual formal thing? And do you agree with him that it would be best for me not to order that and you guys would just work with each other?
Yeah, and so, Your Honor, just a little bit of background on this case, as I'm sure you're familiar. There are several pre-existing judgments against this particular defendant. The defendant is in bankruptcy under Chapter 7 right now, and we are in the process of getting our hands around approximately 10 separate cases that are going on. Most of these cases are subject to a coordinated discovery order. And one of the things that obviously me and Mr. Birch need to go through is subjecting this case to similar guidelines. So if that's the case, Special Master Hale would have to weigh in as far as discovery timelines go and inform the court of their recommendations. As you know, I'm sorry if I'm, being unduly burdensome on the court by giving this explanation, but with that in mind, Counselor Birch is correct that on the liability side, a lot of discovery has been done. Unfortunately, I think that the medical side of this is going to create a little bit more of a need for time than Counselor Birch is anticipating. I know we were planning on asking for 12 months. But again, that circles back, unfortunately, to us having to coordinate with Special Master Hale in the event that this does end up being part of that coordinated discovery plan. So I don't know that I'm in the best position to provide a detailed calendar to Your Honor at this point in time, but that was one of the issues or several of the issues that I anticipated discussing with Counselor Birch today and possibly following up with in the near future. So with that in mind, I don't know that scheduling a settlement conference at this point is going to be productive for either party. Obviously, we have, between the debtor and the trustee and, considerations to the other cases, I don't believe that either party would be in a position to meaningfully have that discussion at this point in time.
Okay, this was filed back in June of 2021. Based on what you're saying, do you anticipate this going beyond the 5-year mark, or do you think this can realistically get done and be ready for trial before, before June of 2026?
I think we can try this case before the 5-year rule expires, Your Honor. Obviously, we can move the court for that exception if it becomes absolutely necessary, but we would do everything in our power on this end to make sure that we didn't have to do that.
Okay. And the deadline I set in the order that I sent out of the 24th, I'm kind of thinking that I don't think that the most productive thing is for you all to give me a status report. After hearing from you today, I think the most productive thing would be for you all to give me a joint case conference report that outlines some of the parameters of the coordinated discovery order and how that's going to affect your case. This is my only real water case, so at least it's the only one I think I have. So I have not dealt with these issues previously. So you weren't saying something I already knew. I appreciate that you put that on the record so that we knew where to go forward from here and have a good idea of our starting point here. But do you think realistically, well, let me ask first, are you already in possession of that coordinated discovery order then, a copy of it?
We have, yes, we have the original order. We actually have the supplemental order from 2024. And if I'm misspeaking, my apologies, Your Honor, I'm going off of memory here. Approving parameters for Special Master Floyd Hale's participation in the coordinated cases. Obviously, because this matter has been stayed, there is no coordination order in this case, but most of those have been done by stipulation. I imagine that this is going to be something similar, but I don't want to speak out of turn for Counselor Birch. So
sure, but even if you're not in agreement to put that under that same umbrella, I think adhering to some of those deadlines would still make sense. So I guess, Mr. Birch, do you have a copy of that coordinated discovery order? Have you been able to review it?
I believe I do, Your Honor. I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
Recently.
How long do you guys need to look at that and talk to each other? And rather than submit the status report I requested in the order that I sent out in this case on January 2nd, submit either a JCCR or some version of a JCCR giving me an idea of how you all are anticipating moving forward and what you agree to in that plan so that I can set this for an actual Rule 16 conference and get you a trial date. How long do you guys need to do that? And I know
Your Honor, just from a procedural standpoint, defendant needs to answer, we need to request an exemption. So if Your Honor could give us 45 days, I don't anticipate it'll take any time at all once the exemption is granted, but just procedurally, I think we could do it tomorrow, except that procedurally, we're not at that point yet, so.
Okay, are you okay with that 45-day deadline, Mr. Esposito?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Your Honor. I agree with Councilor Birch.
So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna bring you guys back in here, but it'll be for an actual Rule 16 conference, because I'm gonna put you on my Rule 16 calendar. And if you can get a JCCR filed before, a couple days before, that'd be great. If you can't, then just show up and let me know what's happened and why there's a delay, or you always can file a status report a couple days before saying, hey, we need a little bit of extra time here. We don't think this is gonna be productive to meet yet. Can you give us an extra 2 weeks? Here's, we had whatever delay in this matter, or we've been having settlement discussions and we've been directing our attention and time there instead of this. So how about for that? Why don't I put you on my 16.1 calendar for March 12th?
That works for the defendants, Your Honor.
Mr. Birch, you okay with that too?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that would be March 12th, 2025, 11:15 a.m. I would really appreciate a JCCR file on or before March 10th. Or if you cannot file a JCCR on or before March 10th, on March 10th, give me some kind of status report letting me know why the JCCR has been delayed, and I'll review that before the 12th. And if I still need to go forward on the 12th, we will. Otherwise, I'll probably issue a minute order or even just a notice continuing the 12th to a later date, depending on what I get from you guys on March 10th or earlier. Okay, I think that's probably the best plan going forward, but if either of you feel differently, I'm open to hearing it. Let's hear first from Mr. Birch. What do you think about that plan?
I think that works, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Mr. Esposito, what do you think about that plan?
We can absolutely meet those deadlines, Your Honor. That's good.
Okay, so I will do a revised order, or I'll do an order today, basically saying I no longer need the status report that I requested in my January 2nd order. I don't want you guys to spend time doing that. That today acts in lieu of that status report because you both appeared and let me know what was happening. And then I will see you guys again at March 12th, 2025, 11:15 a.m. for what I hope will be a Rule 16 conference, at which time the plan is to set a trial date. Okay, any questions, Mr. Birch?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Any questions, Mr. Esposito?
No, Your Honor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys very much. I'll get an order out today on that. Have a good day.
You too,
You
Your Honor.
too.